The views and opinions expressed by John and DJ do not reflect those of any intelligent or rational human being and are solely the property of the Brightside Chat.
This show is a proud member of the Nerdy Legion Podcast Network. Get more at nerdylegion.com. Enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back to the Bright Side and issue number 177. Hey, John, how we doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything, I'm kind of excited about checkout this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. How about yourself?
All right. I am.
Oh, good.
Maybe not as much as you. I don't know.
Well, you're never as excited as I am.
That's true.
Let's be honest, right?
That is true.
Yeah, we got plenty to get to. We got I think some good books to talk about. How's your real world looking? Are we modest? Are we overloaded? Or
no, it's pretty short, actually.
Pretty short? Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna do some Kryptonite, right?
I think so.
You think so?
You said we were.
It's like
I don't know how much I'm going to contribute.
Earlier today, we've already established we talk a lot. and we come into the show here and act like we haven't talked in a week.
Yeah. No, that's the plan, but
all right.
I haven't rewatched this movie, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we'll just have a little discussion about it. We'll talk about it when we get into the store. So, you ready to get into the store?
Sure.
Or do you want to hang out here for a little bit?
Hey, it's nice out, so I'm good either way.
It is nice out, but I like to hear that bell chime, so let's get into the store.
All right.
All right. And there it is. There it is.
There it is.
Did you actually ever install a bell chime in your store? Do you have anything?
There is
forget.
There is something that, yes, there is one. I didn't install it. It's always been there.
It's always been there.
Yeah.
What is it? We got to get that actual sound. Although this is kind of the staple of the open.
I was just saying, yeah, I can record it.
Yeah.
Next time, if I think about it.
Is it a bell or is it a boom boom?
It's like a little chime. Yeah, it's just a little chime.
All right.
There's no bell. I mean, it's electronic.
It's so funny, people seeing you and you're like got your phone up to it and you're opening and closing the door.
Yeah.
Trying to record it.
Well, what's funny is I hear it multiple times, obviously every day, but when you ask me about it, I don't really remember. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just one of those things that's there, and I don't ever give it a second thought. But.
Right. Yeah. Apparently, it goes off a lot when you're not there.
Exactly.
People coming in and out all day.
I don't hear it as. I should call Devin. He hears it more than I do.
That's great. Oh man! So, how's the store doing? Did you work Saturday?
I did work Saturday.
So not a good week, huh?
It wasn't great, and we were closed Sunday for Easter, so
nice.
We lost a day of sales there. So it was a modest week, honestly. But this week's comic releases are unexciting at best, so I'm not super confident.
Well, stuff came out today. I mean, I'm excited for. We have Nightwing to get.
Nightwing. We have World's Finest,
yep.
which will be good.
Yeah.
But there's no real big release this week.
Right. Nightwing's big to me. World's Finest is big, so we got a few things to read this week.
We do.
Yeah. All right. All right. You ready to get to? We don't, John. I am very sorry, but you're not trucking this week, my friend.
Oh, we don't have 4 mailbags?
No, we don't have more than 4 mailbags. I don't know where we came up with that number, but boy, did we.
I don't either.
Yeah, we set ourselves.
Set the bar high.
Set too high, way too high.
4. 4 is high.
4 is high. Hey, there was a while there. Well, let's get into mailbag and we'll talk about it there. So we'll get mailbag going here. Yeah, there was a while there that we were talking about like the streak would be over, right? Because we're like, people aren't going to comment to us every week. And the streak hasn't ended yet. I don't even know how long it is. I'm not even paying attention. But we only have 2 this week, and the irony is they both come from BJ. And he hasn't talked to us in a few weeks, actually.
Yeah.
He's been busy. And, but yeah, his first comment came in. It said, at @brightside_chat, talking about all those talking points that Owen Wilson touched on when he was on your other podcast. Ha ha ha. So did you hear him when he was on my podcast?
No, I'm not sure even what that's about. So.
Yeah. So we were talking about something. I can't remember what we were talking about last week, but we were talking about something that he's referring to himself.
Okay.
So because I said he sounded like Owen Wilson. Remember?
Oh, okay.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
And he does.
Yes.
He really does. So, but I don't know what we said last week that he mentioned on my podcast. I hope he doesn't think we were stealing his thunder.
Oh, I don't know.
And the other one is that I think was that the Star Wars. I just have it. That Zach on TikTok he sent us the Star Wars theater that you go in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, did you ever find a screen in that?
No.
I couldn't.
No, I didn't.
It has to be there.
And that's a cool room, but that's way too busy for a theater. Like I wouldn't be down for that.
No.
Too many lights flashing all over the place and too much going on. Yeah, it was probably you that said something about it being a drop-down screen, and I'm sure it had to be.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see a screen in the room at all.
I mean, it's a fantastic idea. It's a great room.
Oh, yeah, super cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing to like show off. You're like, hey, check out my room. And the door opens like sideways.
Right.
I really don't get that drop-down wall in the back. Because
yeah, I don't either.
And like you said, it's a really cool room to bring people over and go, check this out. And they're like, oh, I wish I had one of those. Then when you get it, and every time you go in, you're like, oh my God. All right, wait for the door to open.
It's
wait for
like
the wall.
Sensory overload too.
Yeah.
So
then you turn all the lights out to watch a movie.
Right.
It's like,
well, yeah, and like you said, I don't know why the back part of the room would open to expose the outside, because you would never open that in a theater setting.
Yeah.
So unless you spin all the chairs around and just look outside, but like how entertaining is that?
They had, yeah, exactly.
So,
they had nice theater chairs though. So
yeah.
Okay. But all right.
But yeah, so it was super cool being a Star Wars fan. I'd love to have a room like that, just not a theater.
Yeah, you should do your room.
Like if that was the room that I had, if that was the room that I had all my collectibles and stuff in, that would be awesome.
But then you wouldn't see the collectibles. They'd be hidden by the room.
They just blend into the room.
Blend right into the room.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. That'll do it for Mailbag this week. So
all right.
Short week on that.
Short and sweet. Yeah.
If you'd like to contribute, you can just, DM us or tweet at us at @brightside_chat. Don't DM at Arkham Comics with an X, because that's really will disappear. Do you even know where your DMs are?
I think there's a little envelope at the bottom of the screen. Sometimes it gets like a blue letter that lets me know there's something there.
Yeah, and then you
Otherwise,
tap on it,
I have
make
no
it go
idea.
away, and then it goes. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, all right. That was Mailbag, and now we are on to breaking.
We are.
Yes. What do we got first?
All right.
I haven't even pulled it up yet here.
First up, so KJ Appa, who plays Archie on Riverdale, and Isabel May, who played on 1883, have been cast as the Wonder Twins for the HBO Max movie.
Oh, okay, cool.
Pretty happy with both of those, honestly. Like, I don't watch Riverdale. I'm not familiar with him, but he looks like a superhero type guy.
Yeah.
And Isabel May, I liked her on 1883. She also played on Young Sheldon for a while. I liked her there. So.
Oh, okay. I don't recognize her. I don't recognize her.
Do you watch Young Sheldon?
I did. I haven't.
She played Georgie's girlfriend for a couple seasons.
Oh, okay.
The one that converted to Catholicism. Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, she was like the bad girl, but then became like, she got all religious.
She became the good girl right before he started dating her.
Yeah. Okay.
It's you want to date the bad girl, and then she converts right when you get with her.
she saw the error in her ways.
Yeah.
It's like, you were the error.
Story of my life. Story of my life.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's good. Obviously the two most important castings for that movie. So
yeah. Is it a movie or a show?
Of them. I believe it's a movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think it's a movie.
All right.
All right. Next up, also for HBO Max, they are developing a series based on the comic Dead Boy Detective, which I'm not familiar with, but it is by Neil Gaiman and Matt Wagner. Mm-hmm. So, two very popular creators. So
yeah,
it should be
cool.
Should be good. I don't know anything about it, but
more on HBO Max.
I've mentioned many times, I'm always happy for comic book properties to be developed.
Yeah. And more, I mean, there's so many getting developed that it seems to be like.
Well, it seems to be that's all that's being developed now.
Right.
It's comic book properties. I don't think there's anything else.
Comic book fans are very passionate. There's a ton of content out there from all different indie comics, Marvel.
Oh, there's so much content.
There's so much that, I mean.
And it's not all superhero related. No. Like Dead Boy Detective, I don't believe is, it's a comic book, but it's a, there's all kinds of genres represented with comics that people aren't familiar with. They think it's all capes and tights.
Right.
There's so much more. So
what was the one that was, I think Viggo Mortensen was in it years ago. And it's
History of Violence.
History of Violence, right. A lot of people don't know that.
I would have had no idea that was a comic.
Exactly.
If I didn't read it somewhere, you never would have known that.
Right. So. And that's what they're doing now. And with all these streaming services, they all need content. And it just seems like that's where a lot of it is coming from. I wouldn't be surprised if it's almost half of it when you look at it. It
seems like it. At least for the things we pay attention to, which might not be all of it. Admittedly, there's things that are being developed that we just don't talk about or pay attention to because we don't care about them.
Right.
But it seems like there is a vast majority of things that are being produced. So,
well, it's either that or real life crime.
Exactly.
Right.
which there's a ton of that too, unfortunately.
Right. Luckily enough.
Yeah.
So, we'll get in a little bit of that when we get to real world today. So, but yeah. All right.
Also, cool. Next up is also HBO Max related. Mm-hmm. Susan Sarandon apparently is replacing Sharon Stone as Victoria Cord in the Blue Beetle movie. So we had reported on that a little while back that Sharon Stone was cast as basically the villain, Victoria Cord, and she's dropped out. Susan Sarandon has taken her place. I'm happy with either one of them. So
not bad at all.
Good for me.
Not bad. All right.
All right. Next up, little Netflix news. Robbie Amell and I don't know. I'm sure I'm not going to say this right. Menger Zhang have joined the cast of The Witcher season 3. Menger Zhang, you will remember from Shang-Chi. Mm-hmm. She played his sister. And Robbie Amell, of course, has been all over the place. But
from Arrow,
he was Firestorm.
Stephen Amell's cousin, right?
Yeah, cousin, yes. But he was in the CW as Firestorm. Mm-hmm. So that's great. Again, I like The Witcher, so I like them.
Did we ever really talk? We talked about season 2, right?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, I saw this headline and I was like, did we ever talk much about season 2?
I think we did, a section in a show. We didn't go deep dive with like Kryptonite or anything, but we did talk about it.
Yeah, I like that show.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Next up, speaking of CW news, rumor has it that The Flash may be ending after an abbreviated season 9.
Right.
Which I believe is the upcoming season.
Yeah.
So probably going to get a half season order and run its course. No pun intended. But yeah, again, hasn't been confirmed yet, but that seems to be, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're doing.
Right. That's what they did with Arrow.
What they did with Arrow.
Arrow ended on season 8 on a half season.
Right.
it was shortly after their big crossover event, Arrow went out. That was talk about going out with a whimper. Oof.
Yeah.
That was tough. And I loved that show too. That was my favorite of all of them. And I was like, at the end, you were like, oh my God, pull the plug.
Yeah, it was done. And the Flash is done too.
Yeah.
You know who else thinks the Flash is done? Jesse L. Martin. Because he is leaving the show after this season 8, which is probably finished already, at least finished filming.
Yeah.
So he's leaving for a new opportunity on NBC.
Yeah.
Of course, played Iris's dad, for anybody that doesn't know.
Wasn't he on Law and Order too in the early days?
He was on Law and Order he's had two long stints. Yeah, because he was on that for a long time, and then obviously 8 seasons on The Flash.
Well, 8 seasons on The Flash is like a weekend compared to being on Law and Order. That thing's been on for like 20 something years.
Yeah,
I mean, he could have done he could have done 14 years on Law and Order and been like, oh, 8 years? That's nothing. All right.
Right.
No problem. Bang that out. No problem.
Yeah. And that's it. That's all I had for news.
All righty. All right. You don't want to add in that other one that I wanted to add in?
Well, we can. I just didn't put it on there. But
actually, no. I actually added in one more after that. Oh, it didn't.
Okay.
Oh, no. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's the one that. Oh, and then there's that. Yeah, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer. As I kind of screwed everything up. I thought that was a new show. That would have been cool.
No, that's comic. That was comic news. There's a new Slayer coming to the Buffy universe.
Right.
But that's in a comic that
we'll talk about next
actually be discussing next week. It comes out today.
Right.
So.
But I found that picture, that headline, and it had her in it, and I was like, "Oh, okay.
Right." And
all right,
you were
cool."
You
I was
were
like,
Mr.
"A new show, all right."
Yeah.
And you're
Mr.
like,
headlines. And just send me the info, and I had
Yeah.
to be like, "No, I don't think so."
Yeah. And the last headline that I have, the Batman dropped yesterday, which we've been talking about since yesterday.
We have. Yes. We have.
Do you want to give your breakdown of the movie, John?
Oh,
I'm kidding, because that's what we talked about today. Like everybody coming out.
No, well, and I tweeted something about that earlier, and I've got crickets. I've got literal crickets. Not one single person has responded or liked it or shared it or anything.
I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
But yeah, my little rant to you this morning had nothing to do with that movie in particular. It's just the phenomenon that we face ourselves with, where people watch a movie and feel instantly compelled to go to the internet and share their unsolicited opinions and or reviews of said movie.
Right. Months. Like a month or so after the movie has been out, and
Well, in this case, it's because of the home release, but they were doing the same thing when it was in the theater. It's not necessarily the timing of it. It's just the fact that
welcome to the
I don't
internet.
know what compels everybody to feel like they have to have a voice on their opinion of what they think about said movie or TV show. It's
said by two guys with a podcast with nobody asked for.
Well, right. But again, like I texted you this morning, people choose to listen to this show. And this is an entertainment. Well, I think they do. Or they just don't hear it, right?
Right.
But
exactly.
We're not forcing ourselves into anybody's ear holes. You know what I mean?
Right.
But this is an entertainment show where we discuss the
stuff. Right.
But if this show didn't exist, I wouldn't be posting my thoughts on the internet about anything.
No, you'd be texting me.
I'd talk to you. Yeah, right. I would talk with you about it.
You talk to your friends, right? So that's who we're talking to right now, our friends. But
because I just picture the guy typing this review thinking, man, thank God I'm putting this up there, because that one guy that was undecided about whether he was going to watch this movie or not can finally get the answers he seeks. Based on my unsolicited opinion.
From Bill.
From Bill, right. So.
Yeah. So that's the bright side rant today.
Yeah. I don't know. It just struck me this morning as I was reading the 10th review in a row on Facebook of the Batman.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I've had enough. I gotta say something to somebody.
And yet we're going to do a Kryptonite today. Like I said to you, but like you said, it's our show. It's like, we're going to do a Kryptonite on a show that's been a movie that's been out for a month now, but I just saw it. So if you want to see what the Kryptonite's on, look at the show notes. It'll be written right there. Kryptonite.
It will be.
With the time on it and everything.
But once again, I would posit the idea that if somebody does not want to hear it, they're free to end the show.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, but like I said to you today, it's like that discussion that we had about, like, do we binge it? Do you wait and binge it all if it's an episodic weekly show? Right. And it's like, but then but you get that now too. A show will end and people like, oh, I just saw Falcon Winter Soldier. That was so good. I love the, hello? That's
right. I get it. I mean, people are always finding things like, you know, I've been talking about Dark for a couple weeks in Real World. I'll talk about it again today. Spoilers. But yes, and I'm late to that. It's been out for a couple of years.
I'm watching The Expanse.
I'm excited about it, so I'm talking about it. But but again, I'm not posting it on Facebook. Like, hey, did you see Dark? Like, oh my God, this thing is great. You know, it's like it came out in 2019. You know?
That was the last decade.
Yeah, people always find things late. You know, there's always people coming to things, but they're not posting their reviews of them on Facebook.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. No, I know. And it's funny because like if you did that with a musical artist, like all of a sudden everybody started posting like, oh, Born in the USA was so good.
Exactly.
I'd start thinking like, did he die? Like, why are we talking
about this group, the Beatles?
They're bigger than Jesus, John.
Yeah. It's like John Lennon's trending. What's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
So, all right. That was a fun little bright side rant.
Yeah. We haven't had one in a while.
So. No, nothing's gotten stuck in your craw, John.
No. No, I thought you were going to bring up the Discovery acquisition of Warner Brothers and the changes they want to make to the DC.
I haven't heard that. I haven't
texted me yet.
Oh,
you texted it to me and said we need to talk about this on the show.
Oh, then why didn't you put that in the note? That was earlier this week. Because I thought,
yeah, but that's your notes. I figured you would bring that to the table.
I forgot.
So basically, the rumor is that with Discovery's acquisition of Warner Brothers, that they are looking to revamp the movie and TV slate and possibly bring in a Kevin Feige type person to helm this whole thing. You texted me that you weren't sure that was something you were looking for, and
that's right. I actually had an opinion.
Yeah, you had an opinion of it, so that's why it's surprising to me that you've forgotten all about it. But but yeah, I don't know, and I disagree a little bit because I think that's just what they need is like a Kevin Feige type to supervise the whole thing. Now, I would argue that they sort of had a Kevin Feige type with Zack Snyder, but they didn't like what he was doing.
Right.
And so, you know, the thing is, Kevin Feige's don't grow on trees, right? Like every studio wants that type. They're not all there. You know,
the old Feige tree.
I'm sure the Star Wars people want that too. And again, they kind of have it with Dave Filoni and
Jon Favreau.
But unfortunately, we're stuck with Kathleen Kennedy as our Kevin Feige type. So everybody wants that.
Right.
They're just not that easy to come by.
Hell, we're looking for one for Brightside.
Exactly.
Somebody to point us in the right direction.
But I was wondering during the news if that plays into it all, the decision to possibly be ending The Flash and maybe even some of the other CW programs.
Well,
because
let me read the tweet that I sent you because I just found it. It's like, new Warner Brothers Discovery wants to overhaul DC Entertainment, Variety says. Here's the checklist. 1, they want a Kevin Feige-like leader. That's what we're commenting on. 2, that DC lacks a coherent creative and brand strategy. 3, this cracks me up. They want to revitalize characters like Superman. Well, how about you not fire or get rid of the guy playing Superman?
Exactly. Well, but that's the old regime, right? Like,
you don't need a Kevin Feige-like leader to figure out that you had arguably one of the best Supermen ever.
Well, right.
You can't keep him employed, but you need to revitalize the character. It's like,
I would argue. I would argue that what we definitely do not need is to revitalize Batman or Superman. What we need to do is move on to other characters that should be in the spotlight.
Then their last one was they want more stuff like Joker. It's like
to me that's the opposite of what like point number 2 was, right?
Which exactly.
Having a coherent, the Joker is very much a standalone anthology type story. Like it wasn't building anything. There was no universe. There was nothing there.
Right.
It was just a thing unto itself. We talked about it many times. Like it doesn't even have to be called the Joker. Like this could have just been anything.
Yeah.
Whereas to me, a cohesive movie universe is what Marvel's doing, where everything plays into each other.
Right. And that's why my argument was I think DC should do exactly what they've been doing. You have Zack Snyder's version, right? And we got to see that. Now we have who did the Batman? My brain's going nuts here.
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves. We have Matt Reeves' vision of the Batman. We get to enjoy that. We have Joker. We're enjoying, you see what I mean? Like it's scattered, but then over on the Marvel side, everything is cohesive. And if you miss an episode or you miss something, you're like, oh, that didn't pay. So you have to keep up with that. I like that they're different in that way, so does everything have to be exactly the same? Like, why do they have to do what Marvel's doing? Let them just do it the way they're doing it.
They don't have to, but
no, I know they don't.
Definitely. See, I would enjoy a integrated, cohesive DC universe,
but not at the expense of the fun stuff we have.
Right, but I guess one doesn't preclude the other, like, or exclude the other, right? Like you could do both, if you wanted to, because Marvel could do it too. They just have chosen not to. But like they could all of a sudden just do. I don't know, whatever, just an Iron Man movie. You know what I mean? Like they could just do a new Iron Man movie and just say, look, this is a anthology thing. We're going to focus on his alcoholism and his descent into this and that. And it's going to be its own thing. They could do that. And there's nothing that says they can't, but they still have what they've got going on, which is great. Like we all love it. But for instance, they're kind of doing it a little bit with Moon Knight, right? Like we know Moon Knight takes place in the MCU, but as far as we know right now, it's a thing unto itself. Like there's no plans for this character to expand or continue anywhere else except in this series. Again, that doesn't mean that he won't, but right now it's like the Joker. It's its own thing that's just there. And if that's all it ever is, like it's still cool, right? Because the one criticism I have about the Marvel universe at this point is like with each new project, the barrier to entry is getting harder and harder to meet for people that are coming to it new, right? Oh. Like you can't just watch Endgame, right? If you've never seen any of the movies before it.
Well, you
and so
can,
now you're saying
you won't understand
but you won't understand it. So like the next movie that comes out, it's like if I'm brand new, you're telling me, oh, I've got to go watch 23 movies before I can go see this. Like, I'm not going to bother. Whereas Moon Knight, you can just watch it. Like you can just get in, watch it, pick it up, and it's its own thing. So that's the only criticism I have with the way Marvel's doing things is that it's getting to where it's not very new viewer friendly anymore. Yeah. Because there is a huge backlog of things you have to know to watch anything. Like you can't go watch WandaVision without having seen the Avengers or Endgame. Yeah. Falcon Winter Soldier. Really the only thing they've done to this point that stands alone is Moon Knight. You don't need to know anything to watch that show. Right. But everything else or with the exception, well, even What If for that matter, you can't even watch What If you don't know what was, because if you don't know what they were changing,
I was going to say the same thing. You're like, what does What If mean? Well, these are all different. Different from what? See, you missed it all, right? You know,
so you can't watch that either. So like, there's literally nothing you can watch without having some knowledge of things. You know, you could jump in and watch Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess, and you'd be fine. But
well, I just had a conversation like this on Sunday, on Easter, and Jen's sister and her husband have never seen a Marvel movie.
Right.
They just started, and they're like, we really liked Black Panther. That's our favorite one so far. And they've seen like 3.
Right.
That's it. And I was like, okay, have you seen, and I said, have you seen Captain America Winter Soldier? They're like, no. I go, okay, watch that one. And then, have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy? No. Okay, you're going to want to watch that one. And it's like, and then work your way through, pick and choose. And it's kind of interesting to talk to somebody that's never, like, really? Like, what have you been doing with your life?
Well, I know, right? Well,
come on.
That's what I say, too.
Look at us.
Yeah.
Don't you want to be like us? Stuck in my basement?
Right.
At least it's not my mom's basement.
Talking to 6 people on YouTube? Come on.
Exactly.
Don't you aspire to be like us?
Yeah. But yeah, no, there's people out there. I met a couple of them the other day.
Well, there are. Like, I was talking to a customer.
It'd be hard
who
to
came
meet
in
those
yesterday.
In a comic book store, you met somebody like that? That's tough.
Well, I had not necessarily, but I had a customer came in yesterday who was talking to me, and he was telling me that him and his wife were fostering a 17-year-old boy who, obviously came from a troubled home, and they were trying to help him get through high school, but he had never seen a single Star Wars thing ever. Like, didn't even know what the Millennium Falcon was, had never heard the name before, like, knew nothing.
Wow.
And now again,
that's
17, he's not not 40, but by 17, you would think even if you had never seen a minute of Star Wars, you would have heard the Millennium Falcon somewhere. I'm not sure.
It's not that he's got to be.
But, again, it's parents, dad's in prison, don't know where the mom is. Obviously didn't come from a home where they were sitting down for movie nights to watch Star Wars.
Right.
But still, it's like,
right.
I was like, well, now you've got him for a year till he graduates and you can educate him on Star Wars, right? So,
phew.
But he's going to take him, he's going to take him through it chronologically. So 1 through 9,
really,
because that's the way you would do it, right? Like if you were going to watch it from scratch.
See, if it was
now,
me,
of course,
I would
say you would never
I
start in the middle, but that's what we did,
right? And that's what we did.
Right.
But that's part of now. To each his own, I'm just happy the kid's getting well. Actually, it sounds like he's having a better life regardless of this.
Well,
so I'm happy for that. But if it was me, I would do it exactly like I did with my kids. We start right where I started because that makes the conversation, and it's kind of fun. How fun would it be to have somebody like this that has no knowledge whatsoever, and actually be sitting in the room on Empire, waiting for their face to like what?
Yeah.
That's his sister. Didn't they just kiss at the beginning? Like, of this movie.
Of course, if I watched it for the first time chronologically,
actually,
I'd get to episode 4. Right. I'd get to episode 4 and I'd be like, well, how come the old man doesn't remember R2 and C-3PO?
Right.
Because he just spent 3 movies with them. So,
yeah. Well, that's 30 years in there.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, no, I know. Yeah. What was it? It was Jedi when we found out the sister, right?
That was,
if I remember
Jedi,
right.
yes.
Yeah. So Star Wars
Empire is
that's the father
thing.
Yeah. And then sister is in Jedi. So
Jedi.
Yeah. You I think you miss out on all of that if you go chronologically, because you know all of that in episode 4.
Right.
right? Because you find that out. You find all of that out at the end of episode 3.
Well, yeah, you find out they're twins at the end of episode 3, and then you get to episode 4, and you're like, why is
they're
he
all
kissing
grown
his
up,
sister?
right? Exactly.
You know,
so I
yeah,
definitely,
I don't know.
if it, I feel like we've had this discussion before, but
well, we discussed it when we were talking about how we were going to watch the Blu-ray set, I think, and I watched them 1 through 9. But
yes, you did. Yes, I did not. I did.
Yeah,
not.
I did.
Not. I go right to 4. So, but all right, that was good. Anything else I forgot?
I don't think so.
In news, hey,
nope, I don't think so.
We had a whole week. No RIP.
I know, that's awesome.
Isn't it?
Knock on wood.
Yeah, it's probably going to be me. They thought they made it. So, yeah, I know. Right. Well, if the podcast doesn't come out, you'll know what happened.
I was going to say, yeah.
Oh, my God. It'd be so funny if there was a technical difficulty and you wake up in the morning and there's no podcast. You're like, DJ!
Oh, my God, he's dead.
Oh, that'd be awful. For you.
Why wasn't I the first phone call? Yeah.
Oh, because he's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. You ready to get to checkout?
Yes.
We're into checkout. All right. John, what did we spend our money on last week? All right.
All right. First book we read is from Image Comics. It was A Town Called Terror.
Yes.
Issue number 1. Written by Steve Niles. Had art by Szymon Kudranski. Horror book, as you might expect from the title. This was, I'm going to say I liked it. I really did like this book.
Yeah.
But it was one of those books where you didn't get a lot of, what was going on here. It kind of starts with a guy, like, Frankensteining somebody back together. Back to life.
Yeah.
And turns out that his son, the guy that got brought back to life, his son had left the town called Terror and had moved on and was kind of living a normal life somewhere out in the world, married, and had kind of gotten away from this town, which was, where a lot of supernatural crazy stuff happens. And he is essentially summoned home by his father. And that's really all that you get from this book. Like, there's not really a lot else that happens. And normally I would say this didn't do enough to keep me hooked for the next one, but it really did. Like, I found this book really interesting. It was a lot of silent pages and panels.
Yes.
Like, a lot of the work was done by the artist.
Really good art. I really liked
and the art was really good. But I liked there's a lot of just black and white tones, but with red splashes in. And, this was a very dark book, as you might guess. And there was just sporadic uses of color through this, which I really liked. And, like I said, from the description, it sounds like not really a lot happened. Obviously the wife is, she's frantic because her husband's missing because he was essentially kidnapped, to be brought back home to his dad, which, he didn't want to do. And she's trying to file a missing persons report. She doesn't know what happened. All she knows is she woke up and he was gone.
Well, I thought that was funny. No, she was awake when he was taken. She knew he was kidnapped, but she filed a missing persons.
Well, she knew he was
kidnapped. They're like, oh, you got to wait 24 hours. She goes, they came in and took him. He was kidnapped. I'm like, then why didn't you file kidnapping?
Was unconscious. She was shot in the neck with a tranquilizer dart.
Right.
Or something. So she knew something happened. She knew somebody broke in.
Right, but that's what I mean. It's not really a missing persons at that point. He was abducted. I want to report an abduction.
Weren't too interested in helping her out.
Correct. Right.
Because even the officer that came to the house is like, whoever took the husband did a good job of cleaning up after themselves because there was no evidence that anybody was ever there.
Right.
And so the detective just has the sense that maybe the husband ran out on her, doesn't know what's going on.
Right.
It doesn't seem too interested in helping her out.
Right.
Meanwhile, the guy wakes up and he recognizes the driver right away. He knows where he's going. And he's getting brought back to the town called Terror, population 1,300. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I really liked it.
Yeah.
You know,
I did too. I liked it a lot. I liked the artwork. I thought is what really grabbed, like you said. The art was great. Was very engaging to the point that I don't know if you had this, but I felt like it was kind of like 3D because some of the panels when you're reading the blurbs or the bubbles, they were boxes.
Right.
The artwork behind it was at a slight blur. So it kind of offset it off the page. And it's like just looking at it looked like the words were hovering above it. It was kind of cool. Not that plays into the story at all, but the entire thing, there was a lot of detail to it. A lot of, artistic work being done that, like you said, they were like whole pages with no words on them, but they all, like 9 panels, I think, maybe even 12 if it was 3 across and 4 down.
There was at least 3 or 4 pages. The first 3 or 4 pages were completely silent. It was all just pictures.
And you're paying attention as it goes. It was fun. It was fun.
I mean, it ramps up towards the middle and the end. There's a lot, there is more dialogue and things, but there's still a lot of, on every page there's 1 or 2 panels, it seems like, where it's just the art telling the story.
I guess the best way to say it is like, normally we get to an end of a book and go, they didn't really say much. And you're like, you don't know what's going on here. So you weren't entertained. But this one you were. Even by the end, you're like, I don't really know what's happening here. But I was entertained the entire time. It was a page turner. Yeah. So. Well,
and see, and a lot of times I feel like when they rely completely on the art to tell the story, I don't always get the story. You know what I mean? Like the artist is under pressure to really be able to tell the story with just pictures. And they're not always successful with that.
Right.
Because there's lots of books where you see that and you still don't really know what's going on. But here, like, we were able to follow this story from panel to panel to panel and, know exactly what was going on. Like I said, I think the artist, who I'm not really familiar with, but apparently he's done Spawn and some Punisher and he's done some other things. But I think he did a really good job of telling the story, and that helped a lot because, like I said, it's not always a successful tool in comics.
Right. So, yep. No. Very well done. Very happy with it. And I am also pretty happy with this next one too.
Yeah. The next one from Dynamite Comics, it was Immortal Red Sonja, issue number 1. It was written by Dan Abnett, had art by Alessandro Miracolo. Cover art was David Nakamaya. This is essentially, we talked about this. We kind of joked about it last week. Another Red Sonja book. It seems like there's a new Red Sonja or Vampirella book like every other month.
Right.
And I was kind of like, okay, another Red Sonja book. I'm not really super excited to talk about this on the show. And this is basically Sonja thrown into the King Arthur Merlin mythology.
Kind of, yeah.
And I'm all in for it. I really thought this was good. I didn't like the art as much in this one as I did in the last book.
It. Yeah.
They simplified it a lot, and I didn't always like some of the panels with her specifically, but I really enjoyed the story.
I did too.
I liked what was going on here. Again, you didn't figure it out right away that it was Arthur until she started telling. I think it was actually the innkeeper there that started talking about Arthur and
Arthur.
Arthur. Yeah. Everything was just off a little bit, but you know exactly who it is. Right?
Literally, they took a vowel out from Arthur.
Right. Arthur and all the other ones too, because it was instead of Pendragon, it was Pain Dragon.
Yeah.
So everything was off a little bit, almost like it was like the Walmart brand of Oreos. Like they weren't able to use Oreo, so it was Orea or something like that. But this is definitely the like I said, it's definitely the Arthur story. And like I said, I'm all in for this. I really liked it. I thought this issue was great. A little bit of mystery to get you into it. And then the way it ends, and sets up the next couple of issues.
Can't wait for the book where she gets that chainmail off.
Yeah, right. She's wearing too many clothes.
He's pulling on
that's the only thing about Red Sonja is she's got too many clothes on.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's been said.
But yeah, I say I really liked it. Some of the books are hit and miss because there's so many Sonja books that come out, and a couple of them I haven't been as happy with. But
I think we liked the last one.
We liked. Yeah, the one that Mirka Andolfo's doing, which is the Invincible.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry. Is it Invincible? No, that was the one that Connor and Palmiotti were doing. I don't even know. I'm kind of losing track of them. But the Mirka Andolfo book with like the daughter.
With the daughter, where she had the kid.
I'm really enjoying that book a lot. And this one here I do like as well. To go back to the other one, the Invincible, which is Connor and Palmiotti, I'm not reading that one anymore because I don't like it. So, like I said, they've been hit and miss lately, but this one I really liked.
Yeah,
so,
this one was good. I did too. Yeah. I liked it. I'm not a big Red Sonja fan. I'm not that I don't like Red Sonja, but I don't read it like you do. And no problem jumping in on this. I get the idea. It's very straightforward and another page turner. You like every time you're like, oh, what's going to happen next? And then a couple of like cool surprises in there. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I'm looking forward to number 2.
Me too.
So, all right. If that's the case, what are we going with for a title?
It's tough for me. I'm not sure. I liked both of these books. I think A Town Called Terror.
Yeah.
Because I'm more.
It's a newer book.
The next. And I think I'm more anticipating the next issue.
Right.
And again, not that I'm not anticipating Red Sonja because I obviously am, but I think A Town Called Terror is something different, something new, and I think I'd pick that one.
All right, we will do that then. Then next week, or not next week. Title is A Town Called Terror. There we go. We have a title. Right. We have a title. They all know, but we're all excited about it because this is the first we're hearing about it.
I know, right? Because it's the first we know about it. If only we could time travel.
Yeah.
What did I say last week? I wish I could listen to our show before we record.
So we're getting to that in Kryptonite. We're getting to that in Kryptonite, remember?
Yeah. It's funny that like I listened back to the show and it was like the things I couldn't remember while we were recording pop instantly into my head.
Oh, yeah.
When I'm listening back to it.
Oh, it's like me not knowing Matt Reeves earlier. All I've been doing for the last 2 days is talking Batman and Matt Reeves and how much I love Matt Reeves and all this. Right. And then I'm like, who's the guy that directed the Batman?
Right.
Wrote, directed, produced.
But last week I couldn't remember the name of the character in the Adam Project. So
correct.
That's
yeah.
Everybody listening back to the show was screaming at their cars, "It's Adam!"
And I hadn't seen it yet. So I was like, I didn't want to is it Adam? I didn't want to say, I was like, I'll just leave that alone. And then it was funny when you texted me and it was like.
Well, I had to text you the next day because I was listening back to the show in the car and it hit me like a ton of bricks. It's like, I couldn't remember the name of the guy. And it's like, I parked the car, went into Walmart and I'm like texting you as we're walking through the aisles. Like, it's like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. It's like Adam. So. And then right after it, we were talking about Lock and Key, and we couldn't remember the name of the villain. And I'm like, Dodge. Like popped right as soon as I heard it, it popped right into my head.
I said that to you the other day. Like you were off last week or something because like you are so good.
Usually I don't forget. Usually I remember those things. But
you know actors' names. Like I'll bring up a show and I'm like, I can't remember who it is. And you like when you had Matt Reeves, of course, that's an easier one. But you'll know people like very obscure characters and you'll know who it was that played it. And I'm like, how do you remember all that stuff? And then, remembering the character's name in the Adam Project, that's tough.
I was off last. And I hadn't had any chocolate or anything.
I know.
Like, that was my problem.
I know.
I was too coherent. Like I was using too many brain cells last week. I need to remedy that.
Yeah, exactly. So, All right. What do we have coming up next week? Well, first.
All right. Next week, we kind of already teased this, but we're going to talk about Vampire Slayer, issue number 1. This is the new.
Now,
it's a Buffy. It's in the Buffy universe.
Okay. Were you a Vampire Slayer reader or show watcher?
I watched the show and I have read the comics off and on. Like I'm not a religious reader of it. I will say that I am not super excited about either one of these 2 books. It's just there was so slim pickings on what to read next week.
Yeah.
And again, nothing against these books, and that doesn't mean either one of them are going to be bad. But I definitely wouldn't have picked either one of these to talk about if I had any other choices. But yes, I am familiar with the Buffy universe and the stories. I know. I'm sorry, but
I know.
Just being honest.
No, that's what.
Just being honest, because even the next one, Magic, Magic Hidden Planeswalker #1. Now, again, I'm a huge Magic player. Like not anymore so much, but I mean, I'm very into the lore of Magic the Gathering.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't have picked this book to read because it's a small audience that's going to be interested.
Appreciate it.
Excuse me. That's going to appreciate it. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Or be interested in it. But again, there was just nothing else to pick that was a #1 issue. So,
well, if nothing else, you're familiar with both these universes in quotations.
I am, and I'll be able to talk about them for sure. Yeah.
I've never seen the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Never read a comic of it. So we'll see. We'll see how these play out with me and how they play out with somebody that's familiar. So all right. Let's see the cover for the Hidden Planeswalker here on YouTube. Magic, the Hidden. Yeah, that title just does not do it for me. It's like that just.
Yeah. Well, and again, I don't know how much you'll pick up, or honestly, how much you'll pick up or enjoy it.
Right.
Like if you have to spend money on these books, I would say you could just let me talk about them.
No. Hey, I got to do some show prep, John, Yeah. You're doing all the headlines. I try to do the headlines.
I mean, you have no problem buying, 5 copies of the Batman, so I guess you can spend $8 on comics.
Yeah. But I think I can grab a couple of comics. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but I know you won't be excited to add either one of these to your collection.
No, but I have caught up on Star Wars and I caught up on Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Vader's fading on me. That book is kind of fading. I don't know about you. Star Wars is still good. I like Star Wars. I mean, I'm interested still in the Crimson Reign stuff. So I'm still into it, but a little bit.
And I actually liked the twist at the end of Vader where what's her name? Sabe or whoever the handmaiden.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like Padme lookalike.
Yeah, but
yeah, where she says Luke.
She said why would I be scared of Anakin Skywalker?
Anakin, right.
Which I thought was interesting because
that means
at that
she
time,
knows
nobody
that's him,
really
right?
knew.
Yeah.
Right. But most people didn't know that at that time.
So my only question with that, and which would be the big, huge redeeming factor, and we had this speculation years ago now, actually, with Vader. Do you think Padme's still alive? Could they pull that off?
I don't know. I mean, again, it's Star Wars and it's comics. Like they pulled off Darth Maul still being alive. So I mean, I guess anything's possible, but like supposedly she was witnessed dying in childbirth by Obi-Wan. So, unless he put her into hiding
as well,
the thing is, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he would put her into hiding as well, because he knew enough to put the kids into hiding. Of course, he hit him on Tatooine with Anakin's uncle, but, or brother rather, whatever he was. Right. So he didn't do that great of a job of hiding them, but
it's his uncle, I think.
But still,
it
is obviously anything's possible, and she could be in hiding just like they were. But I have a hard time believing that Padme, as a character or person, would go into hiding without her children. So.
Yeah. Well, unless it was all arranged. I mean, easily explained. Easily,
well,
you could write
right.
around that. You could write a
definitely
great story around all of that.
You could write her back into life for sure, because the possibility is there.
Right.
But everything we know at this point is that she's dead. So
hell, Anakin's still alive and he lost all 4 limbs.
Right. Well, Darth Maul got cut in half. So
right. True. There you go.
So.
But technically, he still had 2 limbs.
You're right. You're right. He did.
I don't know.
It's just a flesh wound.
Right. He lost both his legs all at once.
Right. We'll call it a draw.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, I every time I read that and I read that character, I'm like, could they be bringing her back? Because they keep dropping more and more hints that only she would know.
Right.
So we will see.
Well, but would she even know? I guess she would know.
Yeah.
Like if Padme were alive, would she even know that Anakin was Darth Vader? Like, I don't know that she would. I mean, she might put 2 and 2 together.
Well, to be fair,
Vader works for the Emperor. So.
Correct. To be fair, Obi-Wan shouldn't know then, right? Because
that's what I mean, and I don't think
they
at this
both
point
saw
anybody
him at
does
that last time,
right?
Right. Obi-Wan saw him, and Obi-Wan's the one that thought he killed him. Padme at the time had seen
thought he was dead.
That was, I mean, within 10 minutes of each other, they both saw the last time they saw Anakin, Padme, and Obi-Wan. So, it's, I don't know. That's what keeps me reading it, but the story itself that's going on isn't exactly as riveting, I think, as Star Wars is, the comic. I really like what's going on there. So, and I think that can be, they could do a good series out of that. They could do more out of that. They could, I mean, you think about the time between, what was it? That's Empire and Jedi.
That's between Empire and Jedi, right?
A lot is going on in that story.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of fun that you're like, huh. Chewie training, to go rescue Han
awesome.
and stuff. And
yeah,
I like the line where like, yeah, he's holding a grudge. And Wookiees hold grudges and they live for centuries. So you might want to watch out for that.
Right.
So that was pretty cool. All right. I can't really think of anything else I read this week of note. How about you?
Yeah, no, nothing really. I read both of those books. Nothing really stood out to me. I didn't actually write anything down.
Okay.
I read more Dune. Oh
yeah.
I'm still reading Dune.
So good.
So yeah, I'm really enjoying the book, and actually, it makes you like the movie is pretty faithful to the book.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing.
Obviously, there's a few things, there's a few differences, but so far it's been pretty faithful. The differences are more kind of the order in which things happen, and not so much, the things that are happening. But yeah, so far the movie was pretty spot on to the book. So
cool.
Obviously you get more details in a written page, but I'm enjoying that. So, I mean, it's still going to take me forever to read it because, I get a chapter in and I'm just falling asleep, 'cause
yeah,
I'm reading in bed. So I get like a chapter a day in if I'm lucky. It's going to take me 50 years to read Dune, but
yeah. It's a big read and it's not like you're not reading and watching other things.
Well, that's it, because I'm still reading comics and then I'm still watching tons of TV. So it's finding time to read.
Exactly.
A 1,000-page book is going to take me a while.
Yeah.
So
speaking of watching tons of TV, you ready to get to Real World?
I am.
See that big market segue,
big
right there?
Yep.
Look at that.
Unfortunately, I didn't watch tons of TV, but we can talk about it. Anyways.
I didn't either, actually. So, mostly, whatchamacallit, Kaleidoscape.
Yeah. Well, and I watch a lot of sports, and so that takes, that takes a lot of time too, because again, like I said, my time is finite, and I watch several soccer games per week, and baseball's back now, so I'm watching a lot of sports. But I did watch a couple more episodes of Dark, still really enjoying that. I'm not going to elaborate it on it anymore. I've talked about it twice already, but it's going to take me a while to watch it, so it's going to be part of my real world for a while.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dune, I did watch Dune again.
Yeah.
I had been holding off on.
You made
watching
me do
disc.
it too.
Yeah. I hadn't watched the disc yet because I knew that my projector and screen were coming, and I wanted to wait and save that for, the big screen.
Mhm.
And so I watched that. Fantastic. I mean, obviously, although I did want to say, and maybe I just don't remember it right, but I did watch the movie twice on HBO Max. And I didn't see anything on the disc itself, but were there additional scenes added to the disc that weren't in the HBO Max version?
Not that I know
Because I
of.
swear there was a couple of things I was watching and I was like, man, I don't remember that happening. And I've seen this movie 3 times.
Right.
But there was a couple of scenes that I just really didn't remember.
It's a pretty dense movie. I mean, it is.
It is.
It is possible that you're like, oh yeah, I forgot this. I mean, only seeing it.
And it is
3
possible.
times
I just wasn't sure if they mentioned it anywhere where there was any additional scenes added. But in any case, I watched it on. I had the big screen set up. I was home alone, so I had it. I could not. This was the first movie that I could not watch at reference level,
right?
Even on disc. Like, even above other movies I've watched on disc where I was able to, but this movie was so loud at reference level I just couldn't do it. Like, it hurt my ears. And then as it was going on, it was getting later and later into the night, and I didn't want to be bothering my neighbors. So I'm like, I started at like -5, and then I was at -8, -10, -12. But the sound on this was, it was so incredible.
Yeah.
And
I told
it looked great.
I left mine at reference level, and I got that, like, your eyeballs. My eyeball was actually shaking. Like, my left eye actually started to hurt. Like, you could feel your eyeball, like, from the pressure. It was the bass in that. When they have the machines really churning, and you're like, oh. And when he's trying to use the force or whatever, the voice.
Yeah, the voice.
Yeah, oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
But yeah, such a great movie. Again, if you haven't seen it, I don't know what you're waiting for. It blows my mind every time I see somebody crapping on that movie. It's like, I know not everything is for everybody, but like, did we watch the same movie? Because this movie is really good. And all the people that it was so slow, it was so boring. It's like, stuff happened through the entire movie.
Right.
Like, there was always something going on. I don't know. Like I said, I know everybody's tastes are different, but when I hear people just really dumping on it, I'm just like, we didn't watch the same movie because this was so good.
Yeah, another movie we're going to talk about in a second, about very similar, and you'll be surprised at the movie that I'm referencing. But I think the Dune is like, even on the slow parts, if you want to call it that, we're fairly artistic. So even on the slow parts, we're looking it's the way it's shot and everything around the
visually, it's stunning. Like, it's so good.
It's similar to a panel in a comic with no words on it, where you're just like, look how good that looks, and you're just watching the entire thing, and there's something to behold the entire time, whether somebody's saying something or not, and it all pertains to the story. It's all paying off.
I mean, there's definite world building that's happening here, especially in the first half of this movie, because it's in the book too. Like it's just said, I'm reading the book, but I found every bit of it interesting. Like, nothing was just boring. There's certain movies where it just feels like, you're reading the encyclopedia, like they're just telling you things over and over and over again. But I don't know. I didn't feel that way at all.
Right.
Obviously it made all kinds of money and won a bunch of awards, so people seem to like it. But
you're going out on a limb there, John.
I know, right? Unpopular opinion, but Dune was pretty good. But yeah, I really enjoyed watching that. Finished Vikings Valhalla, which, like I said, we only had 3 left going into this week. That was fantastic. I actually really liked that a lot. definitely, and we've already talked about it being renewed for seasons 2 and 3 already, which was good because this definitely ends on a like, oh my god. Lydia was like, oh my god, I have to wait another week. I was like, try like another year because that was it.
That's it. Oh,
yeah, that is it.
Oh,
until next season, and it really leaves you on a wanting more.
Right. So if I do that, I've got to do my trick where I don't finish.
Well, right. You won't watch. Yeah, you won't watch. What I made that joke last week.
I know
that you can watch 7 episodes and then save the last one till the season 2 comes out.
Yeah.
But again, you didn't have to have any. Now going through the whole season, you could watch it and enjoy it from start to finish without having watched anything prior.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's definitely name drops that happen. Somebody's always the descendant of somebody from the old show, but none of that matters in the sense of the story and understanding it. I think you really like it. Now, I like all of that stuff. Like, I'm always in for Vikings and swords and sorcery, like Last Kingdom, Game of Thrones. Like, that is my jam. So, like, I'm going to go see The Northman this week because, like, I love that stuff.
Yeah, you love that.
You might not like it as much as I do, but I still think you would enjoy that. I think you'd like the show quite a bit. And then last thing is we watched Outer Range on Amazon Prime. It dropped 2 episodes. It's a new series. Stars Josh Brolin and Lily Taylor. And I initially thought that this was just like a Yellowstone copy. Like it was just another ranch farming, guy on a horse type of show. It's completely not that at all. like I got, 10, 15 minutes into this and I was like, this is not at all what I thought this was going to be. And I was down for the other show. I was like, okay, I'll watch another Yellowstone type show with Josh Brolin and Lily Taylor. I like them. It also I don't know the guy's name, but one of the sons is the guy that played on Iron Fist. He played the brother, like the rich brother. Took me a minute to place who he was, but I don't know the name of the actor though. But this is a really good show. I don't want to really spoil it. It'll give anything away, but there's definitely a lot of supernatural type elements that are happening here, and it's not your everyday like realistic type of show. Yeah. But really, really good. It's on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime. So the quality's pretty good, although I couldn't get Atmos. That doesn't mean it's not there because it's always glitchy coming from Amazon Prime. But still sounded good, still looked good, and first 2 episodes were pretty interesting. So again, another one you might enjoy. And that's it. Like I said, I watched a couple of baseball games, watched a lot of soccer games, watched Picard, watched Moon Knight. Do you watch Picard this week?
I am like halfway to 3/4 of the way through it.
Okay, but this was one of my least favorite episodes of Picard because it's the exact episode that I hate in every show. Every show has that one episode where they spend the whole thing inside somebody's head.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I think it's so lazy and I really dislike it. And when they started doing that on this show, I was like already kind of aggravated and turned off by it. So it wasn't my favorite episode. And there's only one left. So that was a little discouraging.
Yeah, but I kind of was like that myself, and that's probably why I got pulled away. Something came up, and I had to stop watching, and I just didn't get back to it. And I honestly, Joe and I haven't even seen Halo yet. I'm too behind.
I did watch Halo. Halo's really, Halo's
I know it's
great,
really
actually.
Good. We just need, because we're watching it together, I don't want to, both of us could just watch an episode by ourselves, but we'd rather wait. But we are doing... and now
we watched the new Slow Horses too. I don't know if you're into that yet, but
yes, we did start that. Jen and I started Slow Horses. Jen's not 100% on board with that one.
Lydia's not either. She told me after the last episode that she might be out on that one, but I'm all in. I'm going to keep watching it because I like it. So
I'm doing Severance. Jen's doing that as well. She's allowing it.
She's allowing it.
She's not like Slow Horses. She's not crazy about it. But I really like it. It's weird. I think it's kind of growing on Jen too. We're pretty far into it now. We might be almost done with it, to be honest with you. We did. Have you seen What About Pam on Hulu?
No.
Oh,
I don't even know what that is. I don't think I've even seen
Renee
the trailer
Zellweger.
for it.
It's a another true life
yeah.
crime.
I have seen it, but I haven't watched the show yet.
Yeah. Well, you guys might like it. Jen loves it. Her mom loved it. They've all watched it. We got 2 episodes into it. Not even. We got halfway through the second episode, and I was like, shut it off. Shut it off.
Done, huh?
I can't watch it anymore. I was getting aggravated because what it's about is Renee Zellweger. Jen listened to the podcast, so she knows the entire story already, right?
Right.
And it's true life crime, whatever. And this Pam murders like basically her best friend.
Okay.
For one reason or another. I didn't get far enough into it.
Right.
And basically, for all intents and purposes, frames the husband.
Right.
And what I've seen so far is the complete like ineptitude of the police department and the DA, because they just said, oh, the husband did it. It's usually the husband that did it. So they just went there. They had,
right.
And what I saw was they had zero evidence, and they say it in the show, and they're saying, Jen said, yeah, it's real in the podcast. He had no blood on him. He came home,
right.
Found his wife stabbed 57 times on the floor. Right?
That's like crime of passion.
Right. And they're like, well, it's a crime of passion. He had no blood on him. He had an alibi. He was at like a card game with his friends at the time of the death. They
right.
could not pin him to the murder, but yet in real life, he went to jail.
Right.
And I was like, we got into, and you see the entire thing. Like now, Renee Zellweger does a fantastic job of aggravating the crap out of you because she plays this woman. She's this quirky, weird woman that's just like, you got to see it to believe it. But I'm like, I can't watch this anymore. There's way better ways to be entertained than somebody else. This poor guy went to jail. I'm like,
right.
It's what's his name is his lawyer, who I really like, and it kind of saved it for me. But then Jen's like, no, he goes to jail. I was like, for real. He doesn't she's like, yeah, I can't watch it then. I cannot watch this. That poor guy goes to jail, and she murders somebody else later in the show.
Oh, really?
And it's like, yeah. And I'm like, if you wrote this and said, I want to pitch this, they'd be like, this is too stupid. And it really happened. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, I would rather go watch like Severance. That's creative show. You know, let's do something creative, not take like Tiger King and take somebody else's misery and call it entertainment for ourselves. So, but yeah, Joe and I, we did see Moon Knight. Really like that. Still, I love what Marvel's doing. Did we say this earlier or did I say it to somebody else? But every single show that they put out is different than the last show. No two shows are alike.
We've talked about it here. Yeah.
They're doing such, like, what's the next one? What is the next show that we're getting? Do you remember?
Next show is Miss Marvel. It's Miss Marvel.
And that one already looks different.
It does.
Right? So, yeah.
And then I think She-Hulk comes after that, which again is different. It's a comedy, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pushing, all kinds of different genres with these shows, which, I think is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Really cool. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, let's get into some Kaleidoscape stuff.
Okay.
Ready Player One. Enjoying that.
Yeah.
Oh, looks so
I'm sure.
It's insane.
Yeah, that movie's made for that, right?
Oh, it looks so good. And Top Gun. That one I had last week, and I forgot to mention it. But Top Gun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got sucked into that one and was like, all right,
I haven't seen that in forever.
I know, and it's really good. And the other one that I was going to talk about, like when you said you were watching Dune,
right?
The Batman. Watch that.
Yeah.
I've almost twice now in the last 2 days since it came out. Yeah.
You could have watched the whole season of Vikings.
I know. But John, I own it 3 times.
I know. So you got to watch it at least twice.
And yeah, I did my other podcast. I bought it the from Kaleidoscape, which is basically the equivalent to the 4K version. So I was lucky enough to be able to see that early. And then, but I also bought the digital download. To compare it, because like you and I were talking earlier, the HBO Max version just doesn't hold up.
It's not good.
Yeah, they're doing something. It's like, I don't know if their stream is just throttled down or something, but it doesn't look as good. But that, a lot like Dune, especially upon third, fourth viewing, and Martin, our buddy, he's seen it a few times. I think he saw it 3 times in the theater. I think he'll agree with me that upon your second and third viewings, you're looking at all the little detail, much like Dune. Even when nothing is going on, you're looking at the screen and you're seeing details and you're seeing stuff that you didn't see before. And like a good comic book, those panels all mean something. And there's just so much to this movie. It's so well shot. It really is. It's just such a good movie. And it's, I was saying yesterday, somebody asked me, like, what's your favorite? Is it your favorite Batman movie? And I'm like, every time I see it, yes. It just gets stronger that it's my favorite Batman movie. Favorite Batman. Heath Ledger's still the best Joker. But did you see on HBO Max they have all those extras in there? Have you checked out any of them?
I didn't look at any of them. No.
So there's a bunch of extras in there on HBO Max. If you go below it, you could see anybody that has HBO Max, check it out, because there's a ton of them in there. I've seen a few, but the notable one is the outtake of the deleted scene of the Joker, where he actually...
Okay, now I've seen that on YouTube.
Okay, this one here, it's really well produced and everything. It's like it could be right
Which
back
I thought was, honestly, I thought was horrible.
Yeah, like it shouldn't be in the movie.
Well, it shouldn't be in the movie, but I was so turned off by that Joker and by that version of the Joker. Like, I thought it was terrible.
I thought it was like very much like Heath Ledger. It looked like he was drawing on Heath Ledger. And the way he was acting, even the makeup on him and stuff. And they left him as a blur. He wasn't 100% in focus. It got pretty close a couple times through the window, but...
And that's what put me off, was the makeup more than anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the YouTube one... I didn't see it on YouTube. So I'm wondering if the YouTube one wasn't produced as well. This one's produced
it might be different
to the movie.
Yeah, it might be different. But I saw that scene on YouTube a couple weeks ago when he put it out.
Yeah.
So
check that out. And I also started the advantage of, I didn't know this at the time, but I bought it on iTunes. The advantage of that is that supposedly is going to be the only place with the director's commentary.
Oh, really?
And I started listening to that, and it was kind of funny hearing people complain about that on Twitter, that I pay good money for the 4K. I should get all the extras. Why are they putting it? I'm like, that's why. They're piecing it out to get you to buy the different versions. That they're in this.
Right.
It amazes me every time people do something to make money. People are surprised people are doing this to make money.
Right.
It's like, why don't like coming into your store? Why are you making me pay for all these books?
Right.
Why can't I just buy one and get them all?
Yeah.
Because we need you to buy more books. And so that's what they're doing. And it's like, I mean, honestly, if you're buying the 4K version, you're buying it for the quality of the movie. The extras, they're called extras. You might have to pay extra for that.
To get them, right.
It's like, I mean, it'd be nice if it was all included, but on a movie like this where everybody's talking about it and everybody wants to know more, it'd be silly not to piece it out in different places and get people, you want to know more, you got to pay.
You got to buy it. So, pony up.
Yep. I get it. And I'm paying and I'm buying.
Yep.
And
you ponied up.
Oh yeah. Yep. So yeah, it's like it's fun because I put it on, like I'll go upstairs, go to bed, and I'll put on the iTunes one and start listening to the audio commentary. It's pretty good.
Right.
I mean, he's quite the artist himself, so it's fun to listen to. Right. What was his name again? Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves?
Yeah, no, I know, I remembered. But yeah, I can't think of and The Expanse. Still plugging away on that. I should get on Twitter, tell everybody what a great show that is.
You should. Yeah.
And our kryptonite, for people that haven't looked at the show notes, the Atom Project.
Right.
So we'll talk about that. I finally saw that this past weekend. Joe and I sat down and watched it, and very, very good. I
really liked it.
I was shocked, and now at how good it was, I should say. And 2, now I see why you liked it, even though you're not a Ryan Reynolds fan.
Right.
So really good. So, you ready to get to that? You ready to wrap it up and get right to Kryptonite?
Sure thing.
All right, then whoops, wrong button there. All right, that will do it for the show. We will be back next week. Again, if you would like to contribute to Mailbag, just DM us at brightside_chat or at Arkham Comics with an X. Hopefully John will forward it to me. But if not, hey, maybe next week, John, maybe you'll be trucking.
Maybe.
But thank you to everybody.
I'm going to be sad all week.
Yeah, exactly. We did. What's funny is our viewership went down per episode the last couple of weeks on YouTube, but our subscriber numbers went up, which is weird.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So there's more people subscribing. They're just not watching.
No.
I'm gonna have to file for a special dispensation with my wife this week.
Yeah. It's funny because somebody asked me that about.
See if I can get an advance on credit.
Yeah. Somebody asked me that from my other show and the home theater show. And they're like, so, because I had mentioned that more people listen than watch. And I'm like, well, yeah, because it's just easier. People listen in the car.
It's easy. I hardly ever watch. I just listen in the car,
No, exactly. And it's like, even on our own show, it's like, yeah.
If I have time to watch, I'm watching TV. I'm not watching us.
I've got this down now that it costs me no extra time to produce a video. It's like, we're here. We've always been looking at each other when we're recording. Now I've just got it down that it's recorded. I'm like, might as well put the video out. I don't care if one person watches it, 2 people. So,
right. It's just extra.
Yeah, it's extra. So. All right, that'll do it for this week. Thank you for everybody for supporting the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for contributing. We will be back next week, but we are going to, if you want to stick around, we're going to talk spoilers about the Atom Project. It has been out for a month, but I just saw it.
Honestly, that doesn't even need to be Kryptonite anymore. The movie's so old.
Yeah, but I hadn't seen it yet, and
we could have just done it in the show proper.
The show proper. Look at you.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of here. We'll be talking for a little bit longer, though, but have a great week, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Yep.
Hey, Fred. All right, we're back. That was quick.
We're back.
Quick transition.
Feels like we never left.
All right, John, you know what you got to do.
Yeah, I do. Done.
Oh. No, it wasn't done. There you go.
I was doing it.
I know, just because you got the keys in your pocket.
You were just behind me.
I know. Hey.
You were just lagging behind.
Yeah. Hey.
It was lag. It was lag. That's
lag
all.
Time. Yep. There we go. And for those of you that don't know,
the data tells me there is potential danger of plot and/or character dynamics that could go rotten.
There you go.
That's right.
All right. And we are talking the Atom Project. Woo!
We are.
I had no idea it was this good. I mean, talk about hitting you in the feels. Is that why you didn't tell me? Because you knew I wouldn't watch it? That I was going to be a blubbering idiot?
Oh, no. In what? In what part?
Oh my God! All the father-son stuff. I guess
all the stuff with the dad. Yeah,
oh my God! And I'm sitting there with Joe, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
It was so funny. Oh my God! But honestly, this is why I kind of wanted to do this as a Kryptonite, is because you're not a Ryan Reynolds fan. You're tired of all the Ryan Reynolds rhetoric. You're tired of him being him. Like, he is him in every movie.
Although I enjoy a lot of stuff he's in. You know what I mean?
He does great stuff. The movies are all great. Right.
I just feel like he's always just Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. That's like saying I don't like Van Halen music. It all sounds the same. No kidding.
Right.
It's Van Halen. But in this one, is there not, I'm not saying he's winning Oscars here, but is there not some great acting in this? There's some great scenes of him not being Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to remember, honestly.
So for instance,
I don't remember all the scenes, but I mean, there was a lot of stuff with him and
the bar scene of
Mark
him and
Ruffalo,
Jennifer,
that was
him
really
and Jennifer
good.
Garner.
That scene,
that to me, those two scenes, Mark Ruffalo, him talking to Mark Ruffalo, but those close-up shots or those shots of just him in the bar, because the camera was going back and forth, and it's like, I'm picturing myself, he's sitting there with, not crying, but you could see his eyes are watered, talking to his mother, but trying to talk, but the way he portrayed himself as he's acting like a son that's trying to act like a stranger to his mother.
Right.
I think he nailed it.
Yeah.
This isn't Casablanca, but I mean, for Ryan Reynolds, I thought that, and I was like, don't tell me he can't act. Don't tell me that he can only be, I mean, and there was a ton of great Ryan Reynolds stuff.
There was.
Right. And we'll get to that in a second, but the kid is awesome. Right.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think the kid stole the show. Like, he was so good.
All right, we'll get to it in a second. We're getting to it right now.
Walker.
Yeah, exactly. What was the character's name again?
Yeah.
They were, so here's the other part that I wanted to talk to you about. Did this happen to you? Because I said it to Joe when we were watching. Those scenes when he's talking with the kid, and they're both Adam. They're playing the same person, right? The way they framed it, even framed the shot where they were both standing there, like facing each other, but we were looking at it from the side, right? It looked like the old school way they would frame something to make like Ryan Reynolds talk to Ryan Reynolds, right? Where you'd make them both on screen. And back in the 70s when they did it, you could maybe make out that little blurred line in the middle, right?
Right.
That kid did such a good job that my mind was thinking like, that's what they were doing. It was like, it was watching Ryan Reynolds talk to Ryan Reynolds, but a younger Ryan Reynolds. So you were like, but I'm like, wait a minute, that's just two actors.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that they were super, like they just de-aged it.
Well, he was. That's why I was saying he was like young Ryan. Like he should play young Ryan Reynolds in every movie because he was just, they were like the same. Like he had a great Ryan Reynolds impression for a kid, He did. But yeah, and some of the stuff was great. Like, how did I get to be so stupid? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I loved when he wanted to touch his arm.
Yeah.
And he's like, when do I get those? And then he goes, don't do it. Don't do it. And then the kid goes, and does everybody skip leg day in the future?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Which is great because
I laughed at that.
That is a joke on so many levels because that's what actors do too. Chris Hemsworth actually didn't. His legs are jacked. Same with what's his name? Superman. See, there's my mind again.
Yeah, Henry Cavill.
Cavill. He is jacked. But somebody like a Ryan Reynolds, you got to play. You get jacked up top, and you're like,
right. They only ever take their shirts off. They don't.
Right.
They always have pants on.
You don't need to have. Yeah, exactly. And it was so many because you wouldn't even know that unless either A, if you ever Googled Ryan Reynolds tattoo, you'll see his legs, and they're skinny. Or B, he points it out in a movie that this is what I do. And that's what a lot of guys do too, right?
Yeah.
But Joe, my son, who doesn't, that's all he does is work out legs. He loves to.
Right.
I'm not kidding you. I mean, he was, I don't know. He was born with his legs are like tree trunks. When we'll go to church and we'll sit next to each other, and it's like I've got my legs are like the size of like an arm. I got skinny little legs, and I sit next to him, and it's like my two legs together are like the size of one.
Like one thought, yeah.
Yeah. And we'll sit in church next to each other in a small pew, and I'm like, wow, this is embarrassing. You're my kid. I'm like, But you know what? These skinny little legs, they run really fast.
Yeah, there you go.
Away from those Clydesdale legs that he has.
Right.
But yeah. No, this Mark Ruffalo, awesome in this. And
yeah, he was really good. Like I mentioned, a 13 going on 30 reunion because you had Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo back together again.
The music too, yeah, that too. But the music too in this was really good. Love like they have Boston, the Boston song. There was what else was there? It was quite a few songs. It's such a great, fun movie. It was. They actually de-aged Ryan Reynolds as well. In all of this, they de-aged him at the end. Because now, remember when he met back up with, was it Zoe?
Oh, when he meets back up with, is it now Fandwee Newton or something, right? Isn't that who played his wife?
No,
it wasn't. It wasn't
Zoe.
Fandy Newton. It was Zoe. Yeah, I'm
Zoe
sorry, I got
Saldana.
it mixed up. Zoe Saldana. Yeah.
Yeah, from
got those two
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And he meets back up with her, but they de-aged him.
Oh,
they shaved him too, because the whole movie he had the beard. Now he meets up with her, and it was kind of cool. That whole destiny thing will just still always happen. They meet in the exact same way that they met before. Right. It's a different circumstance, but she was in the wrong building.
My question when I watched it was like, obviously she didn't remember. Like it was new to her.
I don't think he does.
Did he remember?
Yeah, I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Did he engineer that meeting the second time, or was it happenstance again? You know what I mean?
Right. I think
I don't know if he remembered.
No, I think you could set because remember he, and I say he, but the kid, it's not even it's so confusing. But the younger self hugs his mom, which was an instruction. So that was imprinted. Then I loved the line that he gave her when he finally met back up with his wife. And he's like, when he said, he goes, you're not lost. I found you. And you're like, hey, it was so cool how they worked.
Why I wondered, that's what made me wonder if he remembered or
I think it's
like you said, maybe it was just imprinted or it was like genetic memory or whatever, you know, but yeah, that was cool.
That was really cool. That's what, honestly, quick little tangent here. That's the hopes that I think we all have for Peter Parker and MJ in what we have for Spider-Man right now. You're hoping that, destiny will take over and what's destined to be will be. Right. And that's that. I don't know. I didn't, even as hokey as the entire premise of the movie was, I still found it to not be super predictable.
No, it wasn't.
It had some nice twists.
Definitely entertained me, and had some twists. I don't know. Like I said, it was super fun. Like especially as we always say this, but especially as a theater guy.
As a home theater, Netflix with the surround sound, the
really
picture.
Really good surround sound, good Atmos.
Great picture.
Netflix isn't that far off these days, and which again makes me believe that they turn it up for certain movies and then dial it back for other things.
Yeah,
because like if you watch something like Six Underground, you could say that rivals anything you would get on a disc. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas if you're just watching, like, I don't know, the Addams Family Values or something, it's probably not. And I feel like with this movie, they definitely cranked it up. And maybe they just do it for the first month of release and then they let it slide. I don't know. But but it feels like they like de-throttle the bandwidth on some of these things because it's really, really close on some of those things. And then you get to HBO Max and you watch The Batman, and it's like we went back in time and we're watching it on like
on HBO Max. Yeah.
So
no, but I see what I say, and I've said this before on my other podcast, but I've said it here too. I think they know Netflix they're experts at their limitations, so they know don't shoot a movie like The Batman for Netflix streaming only, because so the Batman it's a very dark movie, very hard. There's not a lot of contrast there. There's a lot of detail, but the detail is in the little tiny gradations of gray. That doesn't play well with streaming, right?
Right.
What plays well with streaming is really bright things and really dark things, and you put those things together and it looks like, wow, that's impressive.
Right.
That's what they do. And they do the same thing with the sound, right? It's about like the big noises and then the little noises and the everything, but it's great. I think they know how to manipulate streaming.
Right.
And they're doing a really good job at it. I asked the podcast I have coming up on Friday, I talked with Braden Russell from HT Guys, and we just talked about like all the different streaming things and stuff. And one of the things we talked about was Netflix. And like, do you think, I wanted to ask you, like something like the Atom Project, could they maybe in the future, as a way to generate money, drop that into the theater before they release it on Netflix?
Right.
And that, I mean, would we go to the theater and see that? Would people be, they're making,
it's like,
these
I
are
don't know,
theater
because I would go to I would go to see it in a theater if I thought the experience was going to be better than what I got at home. So like if I went to a Dolby Atmos theater or something, I might go watch it there. But I wouldn't just go see it on like screen number 13 at the Cinemark, that wasn't going to be as good as what I was already getting.
Yeah.
So to me, to make me want to pay to see that movie again, I would have to get something better than what I'm getting already. And that would be the limitation, because why would people pay to go see it? That's the question they would have to ask before they could put it into a theater, because almost everybody has Netflix at this point. Like, so few people, if they don't have it, they're borrowing somebody else's, but like everybody has Netflix,
right?
So,
but what
we've talked about it so many times. Most people don't care about the quality difference, so they're not going to pay to go see something they can watch for free at home. But
what
like
about
you and I might go see it because it's 200 inches and it's, you know what I mean?
200 feet, but
yeah.
200 inches in a movie theater, you'd be pretty upset.
Right.
Like,
right.
that's so little.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah, well, I know. Believe me, I know.
But what about an ad campaign? Like, hey, from the producers of the Atom Project, Netflix Productions, coming to a movie theater near you, and it's like Atom Project 2 or something, you know what I mean? And, and it gets people to go to the movie theaters, or they try to, because everything you're saying is true. But we all have HBO Max. We all knew last month The Batman, 45 days later, would be on HBO Max. But yet it still did, almost $1 billion.
Right, but we're also, most of us are more selective now with what we will go see in the theaters.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I will go see the big blockbusters or anything I'm worried about being spoiled for me, story-wise. Otherwise, I'm content to wait and watch a lot of things at home. So, yes, Spider-Man No Way Home or the Batman did, $1 billion at the theater. But I don't know, like something like The Northman. Like I said, I'm going to go see it because I just really like that stuff. But most people will probably wait and see that at home. I don't think it's going to be a big theatrical movie. You know what I mean? So,
and I think, the thing to me is, though, like Netflix just seems to be like they need to find a way to generate income other than just keep raising our prices, because eventually they'll price themselves out, right?
Well, they will, and they're already getting there.
Braden had a few ideas too that you'll hear on Friday, because he actually doesn't think they'll go to the theaters. They'll go that route. He has some more creative ideas, which were great, and I'll tease that for Friday's show. But I just think like they're making such good stuff that it really could. What was the we should be getting
but yet
comic book
Apple
one
TV,
that Charlize Theron did.
Well, right, but Apple TV can produce the exact same or better quality content, and they're only charging $4.99 a month.
Right, but
now they're not putting out as much stuff.
Correct,
but
here's
everything they do is top of the line.
Right.
So,
but here's the reason I say this, and I thought I said it to you last week, or somewhere you and I talked about it. Netflix is the only one that has nothing else under their umbrella, or they're not under somebody's umbrella. Netflix is Netflix. Right. Right.
Right.
Apple TV
Apple has phones. Yeah.
Right. Apple's
Amazon
loaded.
has Prime. Yeah.
Amazon doesn't need to put out the things they put out. They're making so much money, right? They're just doing that for fun.
Right.
It's already self-funded.
Even HBO Max is all Warner
HBO
Brothers.
Max.
Yeah.
All that Warner money. The Batman has already paid for itself and then some, and now it's on HBO Max, right?
Right.
Disney Plus, forget it. That's probably the most lucrative, right? Because all of those are already paid for, and now they're adding shows to it, which are paid for by the movies that already came before it, right?
Right.
Netflix, nothing. It started as a disc mail to home distributor. And that was it.
And if and Netflix is at they run at a deficit. Like Netflix is in the hole like $1 trillion. Like Netflix owes so much money. It's not even funny. Like I don't even know how they continue to exist. They owe so much money.
I know. Well, that's the thing. It's like you and I know, like if you start a business, you have 3 years to be out of the negative.
Profitable, right.
Right. And then like you
otherwise
said. Otherwise
the IRS shuts you down.
Right. So. It's like Netflix, nah.
Yeah.
They've been in the red for like 10 years. Like, all right. Like, what the heck? I don't know.
And there's no path out of it because if they don't continue to produce new content, then people won't stick around. Like, there has to be a new release every week, at least one on Netflix. Otherwise, people will cancel. So
right. Yeah.
They can never let their guard down. They always have to be producing something new.
It's the largest Ponzi scheme ever.
It is. It is.
Really
it's ridiculous.
Is. It legitimately is. They're taking our money, giving it to their money, but then they give them money to make more so that they can take our money.
They just shifted. They're using they're writing checks to pay their credit cards and then using their credit cards to cover their checks.
Oh, God.
So.
It reminds me of high school.
Yeah. It's like this check won't clear until Wednesday, so I'm going to pay my credit card today. I get paid on Tuesday.
Right. That's what Netflix is doing.
It's it's like you never have the money, but you're always spending it.
Yeah.
So,
but they make great stuff, like the Adam Project. So that I love it. Like you said, Six Underground, another Ryan Reynolds, great movie.
Yeah.
Well, great like I said, streaming movie.
Yeah. And I watched a couple that day because right before I watched Free Guy, right before I watched The Adam Project. So like I was Ryan Reynolds out, but they were all good movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Free Guy.
And like I said, I don't dislike, you can't dislike Ryan Reynolds. Like he's like the best guy in the world. But
that's what I was trying to tell you.
I just don't think he's a good actor is my point. But
I think
there's certain things.
Here,
there's certain things where he does that,
right.
He does a good job, but 99% of the time he's just Deadpool. Like it's all just Ryan Reynolds, so
that other 1%, he's Green Lantern.
Exactly.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
So. All right. Is that it? I really liked the Adam Project. I wanted to see it again, but Jen, we were going to watch it again on Sunday, but she couldn't stay up late enough, so
okay.
I didn't get to. But it's
another one that I'll get to again. Like I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah.
I'll watch it more than one time.
Did Lydia see it?
Yeah, we watched it together. She loved it too.
Loved it. Yeah.
She liked both of them. She liked Free Guy as well.
It's a great father-son movie. It's a great mother-son movie.
Yeah, that scene when they're at the end when they're playing catch, and then he turns, he goes to get the ball and turns around, and the kids are gone. It's like, oh my god,
the kids. It's a kid. It's
that's his kid.
You know what I mean? But
it's
then
two versions of his kid.
It's two versions, but now he gets to go home to the 8-year-old.
Right.
It's insane.
But knows that by the time the kid's 12, he's dead. That sucks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That sucks. That sucks. I
He's
mean,
like, I know I've only got a 4-year lifespan. You know what I mean?
at best, right?
At best.
And you're like, are you not like looking around every corner?
Exactly. That's why he says, don't tell me how it happens, because then instinctually you'll have to prevent it from happening. You know what I mean?
But then destiny will take over, and who knows?
Right.
I don't know. I was really kind of hoping that he would have avoided it somehow, kind of like
me too.
Doc Brown in Back to the Future.
Right.
You know, like, I don't want to know. And then he's like, well, I'm not stupid. Like, come on.
I'd be super careful for those 4 years. I wouldn't even leave the house.
I know.
I'm sorry, I'm going to quit my job. I'm just going to stay home.
Yeah. How do you know? How could you live with that knowledge? I mean, you know,
it'd be tough.
Yeah. It would, like, if somebody came up to you right now and went, I know the future. You don't live another 4 years.
Right.
Really? Do I live 3? I don't know. I just know it's in the next 4. Oh, crap. Right.
Well, it was kind of like in that. What was that other one?
I'm getting
Tomorrow
sick
War.
thinking about
it was kind of the same thing, right? They're like, oh, well, on such and such year, you die. And it's like, oh, great.
Well, yeah, that was it. It was like, you don't see this future, so that's why we can take you from here. What?
Right.
What? It's not that far away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think time travel's all it's cracked up to be, John.
Nope, it's not.
No.
If I can't time travel just to listen to the show ahead of time, I don't know what it's good for. So.
Yeah. I went ahead and listened to today's show already. You did not make any mistakes.
Right. And you didn't miss anything. So.
Until we hear it again.
Right.
All right. That will do it for this week. We will be back next week. Who knows with what? I don't know. It's always something new at Arkham Comics and Games.
You're right. It should be my slogan.
It should be for a comic book.
It should be, because there is something new every week.
There's always something new. All right. Have a great week, everybody.